Greetings, friends. We begin the month of Elul. Rosh Hashanah is only a few weeks away. This week we read the Parsha of Shoftim, and I'd like to give you a few thoughts for the momentous times that we live in. The port of Beirut blew up a few days ago. Not only did a warehouse containing 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate explode, but the country itself is in chaos. After 20 years under the control of corrupt, warring factions, this is the result. Beirut used to be called the Paris of the East. Now it is called Chernobyl. Lebanon happens to be on the northern border of Israel. My wife and I have traveled extensively on the northern border. You'll see some pictures now. From east to west, it is beautiful and dangerous. We have stood on the borders of Syria and Lebanon. We have encountered wild boars in Tel Dan. We have seen flowering fields filled with unexploded landmines. We've seen the orchards of Metula and the magnificent snow-covered Har Hermon, the highest point in Israel. Lebanon is a biblical word. The Beis Hamikdash is called Lebanon because the root of the word is Lavan, which means white. The Gemara says in Yuma, Rabbi Yitzchak ben Tavle said, why is the Holy Temple called Lebanon? Because it whitens the sins of Israel. Here's a quote from Rabbi Samson Ophel Hirsch. The Temple Mount is joined by the rest of the land, which rises from south to north as an extension of the slopes of Lebanon. Mount Moriah, the southernmost of the mounts of Lebanon, is regarded as the root of the Lebanon range. Our sages therefore interpret that the whiteness of snow, to which the name Lebanon alludes, symbolizes the moral meaning of white as the color of purity and refinement. In this conception, the entire Lebanon range is named after the place of purification, meaning the Holy Temple, that was founded on its southern extension. The Beis Hamikdash itself can be dangerous. If you're not in a state of purity, you cannot enter. If a stray thought entered the head of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur as he stood in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, they had to pull him out with a rope. Every border of Israel is dangerous, but the north is singled out by the prophet. And this is a quote from Yirmiyahu. Then the word of Hashem was upon me, saying, what do you see, Yirmiyahu? And I said, I see a boiling pot, and its bubbling is from the northern side. And Hashem said to me, from the north shall the evil loose itself upon the inhabitants of the land. This week's Parsha begins with the words, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lacha. You shall appoint judges and officers in all your cities. The Torah warns us that it's not sufficient to have laws but the government must enforce those laws. In the words of the Mishnah, Rabbi Hanina, the deputy high priest, said, "Pray for the welfare of the government, for without the fear of it, man would swallow his fellow alive." Today in the United States, the very institution of Shoftim v'Shotrim, meaning those who are appointed to enforce the law, is under attack. Lawlessness is not only increasing, but lawlessness itself is being advocated, in some cases by those officials elected for the very purpose of upholding the law. Those who are motivated by personal desire for power are attempting to destroy the law for their own purposes. If they succeed, God forbid, they'll end up by destroying the world in which they live. We see the results in Lebanon, a beautiful and once cultured country, which is now on the verge of anarchy. Anarchy is more dangerous to us than any other people. We're the ones who introduced the concept of law into the world. Even non-Jews are subject to the positive mitzvah of setting up courts of law. Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, bequeath to the world the concept of law for the purpose of ensuring the peaceful coexistence of all of Hashem's children. As we count down, or maybe up, toward Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's incumbent upon us to act for the peace of the world by making peace among ourselves. We cannot achieve forgiveness on Yom Kippur until we appease our brethren, whom we have distanced by our actions. The world is going through difficult tests, nisyonos, right now, and Hashem is clearly waiting for our tshuva. The brachas we say over the Torah every day include the 10 precepts whose fruits a person enjoys in this world, but whose principle remains intact for him in the world to come. The last precept before Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam is bringing peace between man and his fellow. There's no Torah without peace. The last bracha in Shemona Esrei ends with the words, "Blessed are you, Hashem, who blesses his people Israel with peace." Peace is the result of all our efforts to better ourselves. It lays the foundation for the final redemption. Why is it so difficult to achieve peace? Look at our terrible gullus, our exile caused by sinas chinam, unwarranted hatred among us. I believe the Satan hates peace because he knows that when we achieve it, his job will be over. When are we going to wake up? Does it take an explosion? The time for healing is now. We received the Torah at Har Sinai only because we were ke'ish echad b'lev echad, like one man with one heart. On Friday night, we usher in the Holy Shabbos with these words, wake up, awaken, awaken, enter in peace, O crown of her husband. Enter, O bride, it is time for Shabbos. It's time for peace. May we soon greet Mashiach ben David and see with our own eyes the Beis Hamikdash standing in the holy city of Yerushalayim.